Hey guys, Dan from DC Wolves here, and I'm going to give you my top 10 albums of 2021, and then I'm also going to give you one little surprise. And just keep in mind this list is in no particular order. I will never be able to pick my favorite of anything. Alright, so first up we got Gojira's Fortitude. And this album is really a step in a new direction. I mean, they've been kind of going along this path for a little while, but they're getting more and more away from just flat-out aggression and maybe more towards the melodic scale, and it's definitely really improved, I guess, their listenability. Now, I always liked them, but I think for a wider audience, it's really incredible. My particular favorite song on this one is Amazonia. It's pretty creative. Its effects. The message is kind of very urgent and topical. You know, it's real catchy too somehow. Fantastic work. Next on my list is the punk band Turnstyle. They've really just kind of blown up lately, huh? They seem to be everywhere. I mean, they were even on, I think they were on like late night television really recently, maybe Seth Meyers. Fantastic. And even in that setting, on TV in a live studio audience, still, they're just absolutely electric to watch live. My particular favorite song on this one is really the opener. I mean, the whole album just kicks ass, but the song Mystery, because it opens the album as strongly as it does, is just perfect. Bravo. Next up on my list is Spiritbox. You know, I was lucky enough to be able to see them live. One of the only shows they were able to play on the tour they did with Limp Bizkit. You know, I gotta tell you, they are so tight and so fun to watch live. And, you know, they're probably playing to click tracks and stuff, but man, it doesn't matter. It was so perfect, and her voice is powerful. The guitars are just, they're just buzz saws, and the rhythm section's really good. And so my particular favorite song is Holy Roller, just because it was their opener at the show that they played, and man, it was a hell of a way to open the show. Next on my list is Chevelle. I really got into this band quite a bit. I missed them a little bit on when they were first blowing up on the nu metal scene. I mean, they had that single, The Red, like a million years ago. They have really been a workhorse band in the rock scene that's just like every album is just solid. They don't really do much experimentation, but I would say on this one, their songwriting in particular has really improved. So the album is Nothing Is Real and This Is a Simulation. My favorite song is track 2, So Long Mother Earth. Man, does that one soar. The vocals are just like incredible. Crazy. Great, solid track. Up next, we got Quicksand with their new album, Distant Populations. Very topical, I would say. In fact, I would bet you a lot of these artists have been very much inspired by current events, as shitty as they all are. Quicksand's been around for a long time, although they had quite a long hiatus. They just came back a few years ago after, 10, 15 years off, although the lead guy, Walter Schriefels, there has been very busy. Come to think of it, their bass player, Sergio, has been very busy after joining Deftones. But in any case, this album is very much more in the rock sense than maybe their more hardcore roots of the early 90s, but it's still just a banger. My favorite track is probably the opening one, Inversion. Just a solid rock song. Every Time I Die, that's a band I'm never going to get sick of. In fact, I'm pretty sure this shirt design here for Caven, get over here. This shirt design for Caven was actually done by their guitar player. This new album, Radical, fantastic. They've always been a solid, I kind of think of them as like party metal. They're just like a really fun metal band, although, lyrically it's always very poignant. And even though he's got a lot of good use of the English language, there's always a message behind a lot of what he writes. Radical, good album. My favorite song at this point anyway is AWOL. I really like the frenetic pace of the opening. So yeah, cool riffs, guys. Mastodon with their new album Hushed and Grim. Fantastic double album. Wow, they were really busy this year. This one's pretty powerful stuff, very catchy, but they also still find a way to experiment. One of my favorite tunes, More Than I Can Chew, is really like, it's really an epic song. Like the chorus just, and especially the ending just soars, and it's just really pretty. Wow, Converge really did an interesting one this year. I know they've kind of played with the idea of doing this whole Blood Moon thing before. I think they did some reworkings of Jane Doe a few years ago. This one in particular, this is a whole new album, but the elements combined with, you know, the influence from Chelsea Wolfe and Stephen Brodsky, in addition to Converge, really made for some interesting textures and stuff. It's very ethereal, it's also very dark. You still got a lot of the same kind of aggressiveness of Converge, but it's really being channeled in a totally new way for them, and it's very exciting. I would love to see whatever they're gonna do next. Oh yeah, and just so we're clear, my favorite tune is Coil Failure, somehow a band that had a long hiatus between the band breaking up somewhere in the mid to late 90s, and in the time that it took before they got together 15 years later, all of a sudden their output is as good as it was in their heyday. I don't know how they've maintained that musical prowess and consistency with such a huge gap, but this is the third album into their reformation, and they really prove it. The song Submarines in particular, you know, you could put that on pretty much any of their albums and it would fit right in. Circa Survive I've been a fan of for quite a long time, and this is definitely a departure from what they usually do. It's much more low-key. Like it's down there. It really gives the vocalist Anthony Green a lot of room to show off what he can do, and it's, you know, he can do a lot. My favorite song, I think, on this one is Our Last Shot, and I know that technically this is an EP, so I'm kind of cheating, but don't care. It's that good. And then for my super secret bonus, I thought I would give you guys kind of a rewind to either a remaster or, you know, a re-recording or something of an older album that came out this year. So in this case, I gotta go with Black Sabbath's Volume 4 with a remaster, just because that album is probably them firing on, you know, their peak efficiency. I mean, their creative juices were going, they were doing tons of drugs, but yet hadn't succumbed to the exhaustion and just all the negative side of all of that. So this was the classic lineup. You know, it's Tony Iommi, it's Geezer Butler, it's Ozzy, and Bill Ward, and it was probably the peak performance for them. So that's it for my list, and I want to thank you all for watching. Thanks for a great year. 2021 was awesome musically. Maybe not so much in some other aspects, but music was fantastic, and I'm hoping for an even better 2022.